it's Rob here with a look behind the scenes. It's Badass Overtime, giving you a chance to listen in to Sven's conversation with his guests after the show.
Sakura, thank you for sticking around after the show. I'm just curious, what's going on inside of you right now? Where are you at?
I'm hopeful and I'm excited.
And what are you most hopeful for?
To be the best me that I can be without other people dragging me down.
And are you going to be, is the plan to keep those toxic people out of your life?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds like a wise decision at this point. What was the biggest epiphany for you today, or biggest surprise, if there was an epiphany?
I didn't really have a big surprise. I've already known all this like my whole life. I've just never been able to get it out.
Right. And what's been the scariest part about getting it out? Or thinking about getting it out? What's the scary part about it?
The scary part is because I know, or I have known, to move on, I have to let go of everybody that I love.
And that means what you're really letting go of is, as well, is letting go of ever getting the love. It's not just letting go because I love them, or, gee, that's my favorite dolly from when I was a child and I got to let it go. No, it's letting go of ever getting that love from them that child has been wanting. And and that's why I say all these steps that you've been taking on your own have been you giving the love to yourself. And that's what it means to patch the hole in the love cup, that you're giving the love to yourself. I've given you one sort of piece of homework, and that is write the letter to that little girl. I want you to, I know you've already read the book, and I know you're a member of Community Plus through, Badass Counseling, but so I know you've already done this before. But if you were to write a letter to your mother, for instance, what's the one thing that you still haven't said to her? And I mean a letter you're not going to send. So just what's the one thing you've still never said?
She's made me out to always feel not good enough when she was the one not good enough for me. And she's not a parent. She's worse than my dad. She portrayed him as the bad guy, and I'd say she's worse.
And and isn't that a hell of a fucking realization, right? Mm-hmm. And why have you never said it?
She doesn't allow me to.
Right.
She won't acknowledge it, and she sends everybody to attack me, and I don't get the opportunity to without being shut down.
Right, because she knows it's coming. She's afraid of you, basically, because you have the power. You have the power of the truth, and she doesn't want the truth. Your whole life, you've seen her as the power source, and she has to project that because she's actually terrified because the truths you hold explode the family myth. If your truths get out and are given oxygen, it would explode the myth that she lives by, and that is that, oh, I'm a good mom. I did a good job, right? Right. And so have you put those truths, though, into writing, even in your own journaling and letter writing? And so what's the one truth that even in your own letter writing that you've never said? Or never really looked at or fully looked at?
Well, I used to blame my dad. I used to only blame him.
Sure.
Because he wasn't physically there. So I thought, my dad's not here, I'm not wanted. And I had to, and then I put together, why am I feeling criticized, rejected? Why am I feeling these other feelings that I didn't get from my dad? He just wasn't there. He's just a fucking, he's a whole nother, whatever.
Got it.
So I had to put the pieces together, and it's her. It's her. All these other feelings that I have felt that I thought was just from my dad are her.
Right. And you have to understand the price, though, of feeling those feelings. And the reason that you blame dad and not mom, even though all the facts were in front of you the whole time, the reason also is because if I blame mom, then I'll never get that acknowledgement and the love that I'm wanting. So you had to deny the truth, just like your sister is doing, just like your mom is doing. You had to deny the truth if there was ever going to be any hope of you getting that affirmation of your worth. And so now you're no longer denying that truth, It's just like, fuck it. I'm never going to get the fucking affirmation. Let's just look at the truth. How about if I just look at the truth for once, for everything for what it really is? And do you know what that is? That's you stepping out of the child. Now you are becoming your fullest self. Now you are becoming the adult. Now you are becoming your full womanhood, because I'm just looking at the truth. Let me just look at the truth for the first time in my life for what it really is. And that's you doing that. That's your strength that has the courage to do that. And so the final piece I want to leave you with, to challenge you with in your journaling and in your letter writing, write a new letter to your mom. And maybe the essence of the letter is, it was you. It was fucking you. Yeah, Dad was gone, no doubt. And he's a pig and he's blah, 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 blah. But we already know that. But Mom, all you had to do was be a hair less than him. A hair not as bad, and that hid how much worse you actually were, because you were there, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But basically the essence of the letter is, it was you. But here's the most important thing I want you to keep in mind in your journaling and in your letter writing. I don't want you to let the anger that you feel towards them stop the grieving that you're feeling, because both need to come up and out. The anger and the sadness. And sometimes it's so easy to be angry that we forget it. We don't want to feel the sadness, but that sadness and the grief that you're never going to get that acknowledgement, and you're never going to get the confirmation of your worth from your mother. That sadness has to come out too, both the anger and the grief. Does that make sense?
Yep. And that's been the hardest part for me, is because I've always like, toughen up, don't cry. Like, so I've always gone within and I be quiet. Yeah. And so the hardest part for me has been the emotional part, and just being emotional about it.
Yes. And young woman, let me tell you, that is going to be the area of your greatest healing. When you can let all that sadness and grief out, that is going to be the biggest relief off your chest, the biggest rocks out of that bag, because that's the biggest thing you've been holding in. So what I would zone in on for you is, let's welcome, like that little exercise I took you through at the beginning. And that's the cycle of questions from the Sedona method. But I want you to begin to really focus on welcoming up the sadness and the aloneness and the grief. And the first 25 times, you're not going to feel it. Or maybe you won't feel it very much, but you'll get that repetition, that muscle memory, and begin eventually, because you're just doing it. Every time you're journaling on sadness, even if you're not even feeling it, you're journaling on it, you're writing letters. And the more you do it, that repetition will create muscle memory, so to speak, and your soul will open up, and all of a sudden it's going to burst through. You're going to know relief, and you are going to know strength, and you're going to know calm like you've never, ever known before, when you finally unlock all the sadness and let your soul grieve. Sakura, you have been a great guest. Truly, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
It's great.
I really appreciate it.
You betcha. And I'll see you in Community Plus.
Yep.
That's it. Join us for new counseling episodes every Thursday and lightning rounds every Sunday.
Thanks for listening to Badass Overtime. Now go out and slay some demons and have a kick-ass day.